Okay, we're live. So I think I really need to kind of punctuate this particular conversation and say that it was about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that I started to incorporate the UFO UAP thing into this channel, and that comes from my contact. And certainly I brought up in my own language, in the best way that I thought that I was communicating, that indeed there would be a ramping up of this kind of activity. And I'm looking back and I'm seeing some of the titles and some of the things that I said, but I think I need to be a bit more clear in saying that over the next couple weeks, just like there was, if you look back to the dump that we had of data yesterday, going all the way to the op-ed, and if you really read that, the op-ed piece in The Hill, also from the Post, from Fox News and other outlets, as well as now people on YouTube catching on, they're talking about this process that we're already in, this process of confirmation, and that's what we're in. And I talked about it, that we would be going into this process of confirmation, and now we're in that process. But I probably should have been a bit more specific and a bit more literal in telling you that this process is here. This is not a philosophical debate. There are bills now that are being formed by senior members of Congress in order to provide and procure everything that's needed in terms of resources and allocation to this particular resources, depending on departments and department heads for the understanding and for the sort of and for the reaction and for whatever reaction that is needed for the incursion of these UAPs and UFOs on our airspace. And I really need to drive home, and people really need to actually listen, because I talked about Luis Elizondo and the way he was speaking, and I said I played it over and over again a couple of weeks ago, where he's literally saying that we don't know, how they're driving, which implies, but he's not saying it, but I'll imply it for you. He's implying that there's intelligence, using these vehicles. We don't know, what they're flying, how they're flying it, calling it a craft, all of these things. They're quite literally telling you these things are here. They are alien in terms of they're not human as we know human beings. They are in the airspace, and they are among us. And this is going to ramp up even further over the next 2 weeks or so. So I would like to put a pin in this episode in the plainest language that I can possibly say, just like I did 2 weeks ago about what happened yesterday. And I would like to be the outlet that you come to hear what's going on, because that's what's happening. And that op-ed is more than just an op-ed. What it is, it's a wrangling of those senior officials to give them backing for less senior officials and other members of Congress and all the other folks that this whole, the whole machinery is involved to get it moving towards this kind of process, to get it underway. Also, too, there needs to be a communication process that needs to be underway in order for people to understand that we have almost, not just monthly, but much more than monthly incursions, not just on our airspace. We have it in our military facilities and all around our pilots. And I enclosed, and I highly recommend that you go to the Tucker Carlson interview with Christopher Mellon. He's the former DIA director, and he says here, the Pentagon officials told him the commanders of our carrier battleship groups, being by far the most advanced in the world, stated this is a plea for help because of the sheer numbers and vastness of these UAP incursions while stalking our military installations and governments, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it. Not to mention many of these incidents they're occurring more rapidly in recent years. They don't know why these incursions are happening more rapidly. So I need for everyone to know that. And within the next 2 weeks, there's going to be another drop like this. 2 weeks from now, there'll be another drop like we had yesterday. And what I'll do is I'll deliver that to you, but I need to say it in a very specific and plain way to everyone that it's going to happen. And it will be only one part of an ongoing process of the human experience and the changing of that human experience. A UAP is exactly like a UFO. Whenever I say UAP, I think it's the version the way it's in the UK and other parts of the world. In America, or North America, we happen to say UFO. We have an op-ed, a national security op-ed piece to Hill for UFOs, and that's pleading for the resources. And if you know how the machinery works, this is the pressure is going to start mounting in order for Congress to act. So it is actually quite different than 2017. And the very plain language that's being used from the Tucker Carlson and the former DIA director, Christopher Mellon, is very plain. And in terms of not just categorizing, you have to really listen to what they're saying to you. There's active incursions on our bases, on our facilities, on our carriers, and on our battleship groups. Also, too, I just need you to keep that in mind, and that all of those things are coming together. And because we are in a republic, a lot of people mistake a democracy. We're not in a democracy. We're in a representative republic. It's very sloppy and it's very messy, but it's the best we have so far in terms of being Americans. And in terms of everyone else, I can't speak for other countries in the incursion into their airspaces or anything else, but I can speak about this. I probably can speak pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just saying that there's no reason to be frightened. It's just it's a part of the human condition. The only thing that's frightening is that you're experiencing a change in the human condition. There have been changes in the human condition from the very beginning, and there were, according to quote unquote scientists, whatever, that there have been abrupt changes to the human condition and their understanding of their environment around us. And what you have is you have a veil over you, and that is going to lift, and you're going to be able to understand your environment better. So there's no fear. You just need to understand that your understanding of and your interaction with your environment is going to be a bit different. And it's going to be evolving, and it's going to be ongoing. That's what it is. And that's what it means. And that's really all I wanted to say in terms of this. But if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'm just a regular person. I'm just saying that it was 2 weeks ago. It did happen exactly as it was told to me that it was going to happen. So it's going to happen again, and it's going to continue to happen. And it's all out in front. And they're telling you, and I guess they're going to have to calibrate the way in which they explain how our human condition is going to change for all of us, and the way in which we're going to adapt those environmental changes and understand those variables. There's going to be a kind of re-understanding of what it is to be a human, what it is to work with one another, and that's all this is. And it happens. It has happened before with us, and it will certainly happen again.